Welcome to CoBB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharan Raghavan.
Sudeep, have you ever written a creative brief for virality?
I think we have spoken about this in the past. You can't write a brief for virality. You can hope for it. I've written brief for creating awareness, but which could connect with consumers. But how can I brief for virality?
Yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs I meet today are primarily looking to go viral. They're looking for an agency. And this is the brief I get. Can you find us an agency that will make us go viral?
So I think they're reading your name wrong. It is Vitral brand expertise, not viral brand expertise.
It's just crazy that people say, I want to go viral. I want somebody who can make things go viral for me. So that's why I asked you the question.
Now, there's obviously this obsession with going viral. Right? Now, why do you think it has become an obsession?
Well, it is an obsession because it gives you instant recognition and it makes you feel like a superstar for the time it's viral. In a world where attention is the currency and people have such short attention spans, and the moment you go viral, people are sharing your content. You feel it's like you hit a jackpot. And see, but the issue is that virality is a tool. It's not necessarily a strategy for the brand. It grabs attention, yes, but unless it is tied to a meaningful message, it fades very quickly and it has absolutely no long-term value. In the sense, when I say it's a tool, when it happens, you can leverage it. You can't really build for it, like you said. It happens. You can't really engineer virality.
Fair. What happens if you build for it? If you make it your end goal?
Okay. The risk is that you create campaigns that resonate with a moment, but failed to link back to your brand. So when you do something that's not in coherence with your brand, you're actually undoing the good work you may have done until then. You are taking away from the loyalty, from the narrative you built so far to just be viral, to be top of mind for those moments. A great example is that a lot of brands go humor, start focusing on humor and gimmicks. And even this one, like the Ganji Chudel. Brands have taken to it. I saw a jewelry brand take to Ganji Chudel.
Yeah.
I'm like, it is so not what the brand is supposed to be doing. It is completely off. Just because Ganji Chudel is trending, everybody wants their own version of Ganji Chudel in hope that they will go viral. But the truth is, see, people will remember Ganji Chudel, but they will not remember all the brands that did Ganji Chudel campaigns. And worse, what's going to happen is, if you have a strong consumer base, you end up diluting your brand and you're alienating your customers, your existing audience, by doing something that's so off just to be viral. That is the risk of being viral, having virality as the objective.
Fair. But if you do, so you're saying if you are chasing only virality, you end up making some wrong choices, which can hurt your brand value.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I also see things that go viral, especially between marketers, are campaigns or takes that you have for your peers or competitors.
You do that so often, right? I think people have always done it to make themselves viral in the marketing community. But now it's become like LinkedIn. LinkedIn has just created an official space for marketers to go viral themselves. So they end up, marketers are marketing to themselves and saying, see, I did this, I did that. So
wow, that's a marketing hyperloop.
Exactly. So when I was in it, there was this big debate of saying why Harpic should advertise in IPL. Thankfully, I wasn't part of the debate. I was a bystander to the debate. The point is, Harpic had no job to be on IPL. If you were going after the homemakers and they were the audience, the logic was they also watch IPL. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to be on IPL. There are far cheaper ways to reach them around the same time. So you don't have to be on IPL. But people wanted to be on IPL because their peers can watch them being on IPL.
Correct.
People do things to impress each other. And one thing that comes to mind is Boat.
Okay.
Boat tried to take on Apple
Mm-hmm.
in a big print campaign.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think I saw it. Yeah.
I think it was just stupid.
Okay.
Maybe they internally believe that they make AirPods as high quality as Apple does.
Apple.
But the recent point saying that boats maximized their product returns or product service that is going viral, saying there is only a certain number of product returns they can take in a day. And some customers who wanted to return a product said, how is it my problem that you maximized your returns? I need to return mine. So if that is the quality you're eventually delivering, but you want to behave like an Apple, you want to build an Apple, and you want to tell your friends and peers that you're building something like an Apple, and everybody wants to be minimalistic today. Everybody wants to be sleek and be an Apple or a Nike. And the result is that you end up diluting your any uniqueness that you built into your brand.
Okay.
And that is why
Fair.
when you try to start copying people, you completely go down the drain.
Okay. So I think the whole chat around virality also came from the fact that there are a lot of things that might have worked for a certain brand. Now, what this also dovetails into is this whole thing around copying.
Yes.
A lot of brands want to become successful by copying others, right? Now, what's the problem if some small brand follows this strategy to become big?
See, there is a difference between following a strategy and following an execution. Now, yes, some strategies are replicable. Not all of them are. But most of the time, what happens is when you come in as a new or an emerging business, you see something working for the market leader most of the time. And you say, I want to do exactly that. But it doesn't work for you. Why does it not work for you? Because one, the market leader has got scale. And what you are taking off from is one part of the narrative that they've been building over years.
Yeah.
It is not that one moment that's working. It is all the work they've done before it that is working. So I meet a lot of entrepreneurs say, my brand's communication should be emotional. I'm like, you're a new brand here. What right do you have to connect emotionally with consumers when you've offered nothing different? Maybe you can, but not immediate. You can build towards it. If you offer something better, you can build towards it. And second, they have the resources to amplify this communication or the creative or the output that they do. They can make an IMC, a 360-degree campaign out of the content that they create.
Okay.
A smaller brand does not have it. And maybe the idea doesn't work if it's not amplified as big.
Okay.
So just looking at the large guys saying, I can do this, it doesn't really work for a lot of brands.
I think the answer was, like you rightfully articulated at the very start, copying the strategy versus copying the execution. And you've seen this happening recently. You've seen it not working for brands.
Of course. So everybody wants to build an Apple, right? So you've seen the Apple's product launches, even after Jobs, they continue to do. Whether the product is good or not, the launches are very good with Apple. And the same thing was done by Ola recently. They said, we are the number 3 manufacturer of electric cars outside of China. So basically, when you try to be something and you kind of put up the similar stage, similar presentation, you want to tell that story, but you don't have the credibility to go with it. You don't have the right to say something like that. This is similar to people wanting to build emotionally connected brands. But you don't have the wherewithal to do it. You don't have the right to do it.
Yeah, I think wherewithal is one. Second part is right, as you said. And maybe, right comes from, I think, authenticity also.
Absolutely. Because, see, that is the only strength the smaller brands have, right? Because when you're starting out, you are the underdog. So, and you are trying that much harder. And you are being genuine in trying to address your customer issues. You're doing your best to solve for their problems, which the larger brands might not be bothered to address. So at that point, instead of being that genuine, down-to-earth underdog, if you start mimicking the larger brands in the system, one, you lose your unique voice, which is actually your strength. So I'd gone to a cafe in Chennai recently, and they were pricing like Starbucks. And they were pricing because they were able to get the same kind of coffee cups like Starbucks. You don't go to the local cafe to get a Starbucks feel. I go to Starbucks to get a Starbucks feel if you want to. But here they were complete, because I'd gone to this for the filter coffee. They didn't even have filter coffee on their
Because Starbucks doesn't have one. Nice. Very good.
Incidentally, I went to a Starbucks later and they had filter coffee. And the Chennai local coffee cafe did not have filter coffee.
Nice.
So
Very good.
they're losing the local touch, right? Because Starbucks is there across the world. But there is only this one unique cafe in Mylapore, Chennai, which can be serving filter coffee. But they're just trying to be a Starbucks. They're losing out on what makes them them.
Okay.
That's the authenticity you spoke about.
Fair. Now, we spoke about virality. We spoke about copying others.
Right.
Now, let's move to one more similar angle, which is copying the trend. Right? These days, trends come, trend go, and along with them comes a barrage of reels and shorts and whatnots. So, again, the same thing. Brands want to adopt trends to remain relevant, but how can they do it without losing, what they stand for?
See, it is again about knowing what you are, right? Because trends are important. That helps you become more memorable with consumers and whatever's going on. So, and you should pick the right trends that go for you. Trends that work in sync with what your brand stands for. So there was I'll take an example, a named example of the sustainability which people are talking about in fashion. And Fab India embraces that beautifully, from having even terracotta products, even sustainable cafe menu options that they have in their cafes, the cotton fabric and the local traditional clothing that they use. It's great. But I also saw a fast fashion brand talk about sustainability. I was like, you're just antithetical to everything that's sustainable. If you're fast fashion, be shamelessly, unabashedly fast fashion. Talk about the designs you offer, talk about the collections you're bringing in, talk about the convenience you're giving to consumers. But you don't have to suddenly start behaving like a Fab India.
Understood.
Because in your mind, you believe Fab India is superior. So you fail to differentiate between the person and the business at one point. And that creates a lot of, pulling in different directions. It creates almost a fakeness to the brand. So the moment I said a fast fashion brand talking about sustainability, you started laughing, right? This is what every consumer must have thought of it when they put out the communication.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah. And hence, the larger point that you're making is that you don't need to participate in every trend. Wait for the ones that make sense to you.
Absolutely. You don't have to chase the trends. You pick the ones that work best for you. You don't, just because competition is doing it, you don't have to do it. Focus on being different first. That's the whole point of building a brand, right? You've got to be differentiated. You at least appear different, distinct from the competition. And if a competitor is doing it, first check if it's aligning with you, your brand, does it stand for it? And more importantly, does it stand to serve your customers? If not, just skip it. Because staying true is more important than staying trendy in any business.
Okay, fair. That brings me to one more specific aspect, Sharan, which is around short-term win versus long-term loyalty. Yeah. We spoke about going viral, betting on trends, copying major players. All of them, when that is being done, usually is to create short-term wins. Right now, there is a result pressure. How should a brand or a company retain their focus on long-term value as well?
See, while we talk a lot about creating long-term value, for an emerging business, short-term is equally important. Without making money, there is no real long-term goals left. Right. Now, you've got to keep your short-term goals in mind and leverage the brand that you built so far to build on to modify these the short-term goals that you can drive. For example, so let's say you're building a premium fashion brand and you need to get your sales up in this festive season. Instead of dropping your price by say 50%, 40%, call out a limited edition offer. So it's still the same. You're still selling it at a discount. You're still selling it. You will give the discounts. I think you articulated this brilliantly before when you spoke about how Apple does discounts.
Yeah.
Right? So when Apple is trying to tell you via the print ads that Apple is indeed affordable, they don't tell you be cheap. They put the discount from the credit card, from the retailer, from the buyback of your old phone. Then tell you it's actually affordable, but they never say it in any other communication. They say you can now buy an Apple, then saying Apple is now 50% off. That is exactly saying that is still serving the short term, but keeping in line with what the brand is built for the premiumness. That is delivering for the short while keeping the long in mind.
Good one actually. And let me make it more extreme.
Okay.
There's a brand that is really struggling financially. They have runway of 3 months left. Right? There's a company, 3 months runway left. Now telling them, if a consultant like you tells them that please focus on long-term gains, the founder is going to shoot you there and then because they don't know beyond those 3 months. Right? So what will your advice be?
See, they don't know they're going to be, if they're going to be around for more than 3 months. But they should believe they're going to be around for more than 3 months. That's not saying live in a foolish world. It's to say that behave like you're going to stand out. Behave to the outer world. You got to fake it till you make it. So, I mean, fake it till you make it sounds very crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I say believe it until you become it.
Correct.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, beautiful.
So believe you're going to last for longer. And you see, I don't see that so much in India, but when you travel abroad, in a lot of the high streets, you see everything must be sold. We're shutting down. Sales happen very often because of the high rentals. So that's the worst way to sell, right? Because one, your brand is finished. And people are coming in looking for a steal. They're not looking to even say, I want it even at your cost. So, but when you say, I've got a 3-month runway, I'm going to run a limited period offer saying 2 months or this month, like what Amazon and Flipkart do. If you had a limited period offer to an existing customer base, then you would still get that traction. That is a desperate move, yes, but it doesn't have to look as desperate to the consumers. So instead of being blind about what you're cutting out, you can actually make choices on saying what you want to push under the discount, what you want to drive sales with. Therefore, you will last more than 3 months if you did something like that. Because if you believed you were only going to last for 3 months, then it's finished. You've got to believe you're going to last for longer and therefore have the ability to pause, think and act with your brand in mind.
Interesting. So I think you're making a point that you made in one of the previous episodes also, similar to this, where you said that you got to be strategic about short-term decisions also.
Yes.
The decisions in the short term are also meant to create results now. But if you're strategic about them, then you are making sure that you're not abandoning your long-term goals in the search of short-term wins.
Right. Because the problem starts when your short term is only about diluting your long term. That cannot be the case.
Yeah. Lovely. It's a fairly nuanced argument, Sharan, and thank you for taking this up because it is not an easy one to talk about in any forum where we know that short-term business, immediate business is very, very critical. Yet people understand that it is always critical to build long-term value, but they just can't find a way to balance them out. You see immediate gains landing up somewhere, but you're not aware of how their future is going to pan out. And hence, I think this nuanced argument of saying that remain obsessed with your consumers and not with your competitors. Everything else is in service of them. Going viral is only a result. It's not, should not guide your action. Trends or any new thing that you want to copy, fully copy the strategy. Do it if it is strategic. Don't do it just for the sake of virality or getting followers or getting noticed at that point in time. Take all your short-term calls. keeping long-term interests of brand in mind, right?
Absolutely.
And I think the statement of the day for me is believe it till you become.
Thank you for listening to CoBB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Raghavan. Subscribe and learn more at cobcast.net.